Hello dear fans, friends and subscribers. Welcome back to your cricket happening show this on a Sunday, and I can say one thing, that there was some sensational hitting in the Natwest T20 Blast, which I'm going to look at that particular match. And the reason I say it's a sensational cricket happening show is because Ross Whitley of Worcestershire absolutely slammed the rookie bowler, the left arm spinner. His name is I think it's Carver, if I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to see now. We are talking about the Natwest T20 Blast. The game took place between Worcestershire. It was Kyle Carver. Carver is his name. He's a left arm spinner. He got hammered for 36 runs in a single over. So this was some real hitting. He was a left arm spinner, all right. But again, to hit 6 sixes in an over is something, it's something great. And let's talk about this game. So I will start off my cricket happenings with this particular Natwest T20 Blast game. And I'll be talking about that. So I'll be talking about Ross Whitley's 6 sixes of the bowling of Carver. And also we'll look at some other matches, just a brief look at the glance at the other matches in the T20 Blast. England, okay, let me start off by saying that England, because of Whiteley's 6 sixes, I started off with that because we are keeping the topic on England. Today in the Lords, it was the finals of the Women's World Cup. England definitely missed out on an opportunity when they lost to Pakistan in the men's world, in the Champions Trophy, where they could not make it to the final. They were packed up by Pakistan, but the women's cricket team in the World Cup did a wonderful turn for themselves. India, who Harmanpreet Singh Kaur, who had smashed at 171 runs to put India into the final, was probably eyeing a victory in the first ever World Cup victory, but unfortunately that was not to be. So England missed out in the Champions Trophy, but made up for that in the Women's World Cup as they hit India hard. In the sense, India definitely put up a great show of defiance, no doubt about it. They only lost by 9 runs. So definitely the victory was it was a very close game, even though Indians had a late collapse. And then 6 wickets were taken by one of the English bowlers taking 6 wickets. And India actually losing the final match at Lords, with England the victors, England the rulers of the World Cup. And congratulations to England. Well, so that is one thing. And also, as you know, the first test match is about to begin this week between India and Sri Lanka, and the squad has been named. But I'm very happy to see that one talented bloke, Dhananjay De Silva, gets an opportunity thanks to Dinesh Chandimal not playing because of pneumonia. So definitely, so that is good thing for Dhananjay De Silva, who didn't perform well in the first tour game, but still the selectors have gone for him. I think that's the way to go, because I've always felt that Dhananjay De Silva is a talented bloke from Sri Lanka. Well, but as I'm going to start off with this Natwest T20 Blast, there is no doubt about it. And the reason I said is because Whitley. Now the match was like this. Yorkshire actually batted first, and they raised a big score of 233 for 6 of their 20 overs against their rivals Worcestershire. And look at what happened. In fact, it was David Willey who came in. He came in as one drop, and he hammered the Worcestershire bowlers all across the park as he slammed 118 of just 55 deliveries with 9 fours and 8 sixes. It was his maiden century, I reckon, but I still need to look at the records. But David Willey slammed them all across the park, 118 of just 55 deliveries with 9 fours and 8 sixes. And that took the Yorkshire innings. It's all because of the David Willey knock that they stood at 233 for 6. If you look at the bowling, Mitchell had 2 overs, none for 23. Hastings 3 overs cost him 58 runs and 2 wickets. Bernard disappeared for 38 runs of his 3 overs with 1 wicket. Chantry 4 overs cost him 41 runs and 1 wicket. Rhodes 1 over for 8. Mitchell Santner 4 overs for 23. Leach 3 overs 1 for 38. Now as far as Worcestershire were concerned, Worcestershire were given a target of 234 to hunt down, and it was nothing was really going the way, barring Clark actually making 51 of 32 balls with 6 fours and 2 sixes. Hastings opened the innings, so Hastings was given the free license to go after it. So they definitely had a good beginning, chasing 233 for 6 by putting 37 in just 16 deliveries. They smacked it to 37 runs of 16 deliveries. Hastings was eventually out for 24 of 11 balls, 2 fours and 2 sixes. Clark, the opener, making 51 of 32 with 6 fours. But the real sort of a burst came when it was Ross Whiteley at the crease, and Ross Whiteley absolutely took the left arm spinner who was introduced into the attack by the scruff of the neck as he was hammered. Absolutely, he went. It was Ross Whiteley actually going berserk and started depositing the left arm spinner Carver over the pickets, and in one particular over he went on to smack 6 sixes in a single over of Carver, and Carver's figures were rearranged. In fact, Ross Whiteley eventually left for 65 of 26 deliveries with 2 fours, 6 sixes coming off 1 over of 6 consecutive balls of the bowling of Carver, and then he added 2 more to that particular tally as he finished with a very hard hit 65, 26 balls, 2 fours and 8 sixes, and it was done in fine style. Oliveira was not a 15 of 19, and finally 196 for 7 was the final tally that actually Worcestershire had. And even though 6 sixes were hit, it still was not enough for them to go and have victory, because it was in fact they had set up a very big tally for them. In fact, Yorkshire set up a big total of 233, and in the end Yorkshire were the victors. David Willey was the man of the match. They won the match by 37 runs. But Ross Whitley definitely showed what a dangerous player he can be, as he hammered those 6 sixes in a single over. To hit 6 sixes in a single over, it's the most difficult job in cricket. Very rarely one sees that happening, but Ross Whitley will go into the record books today for doing that to the very left arm spinner. I'm sure he would have been totally gutted. He would have been totally gutted after being hammered in such a fashion, which was really something very stunning, as the left arm spinner got hammered all around the park. You look at his bowling figures. He had, in the first over, he actually gave 21 runs, and one does not know what was the reason. Tim Bresnan, the skipper, decided to bring in Carver one more over, and that time it was Ross Whiteley taking Carver by the scruff of the neck, and 2 overs it cost him 47. So such was the power of Ross Whiteley. Patterson 3 overs 1 for 8, 4 overs 2 for 20 for Adil Rashid, 1 for 36 Azim Rafiq, 3 overs 1 for 35 for Willey, and Bresnan 4 overs 1 for 42, 2 for 42. So as I said, Ross Whiteley was the hero, no doubt about it. But it was David Willey who was the real hero with that knock of his. Now, just looking at the Yorkshire innings, Adam Lith made 31 of 23, 3 fours, 2 sixes. Lees was out for 11 of 7 balls, 1 4, 1 6. But David Willey was in his element, 118 of just 55 deliveries, 9 fours and 8 sixes. Marsh made 4. Hanscom 19 of 13 with 2 boundaries. Leaning 14 of 11 deliveries. Bresnan not out, 13 of 5 with 2 fours. Rashid was not out on 4. Game over. Yorkshire actually winning the match, and one has to say it was wonderfully done. And Ross Whitley, as I said, got definitely going into the record books in T20 cricket by hammering those 6 sixes. Yes, when it comes to T20, England would definitely remember Stuart Broad, who was at the receiving end of an Indian player, Yuvraj Singh, who hit him for 6 sixes in a single over. Now that was a pace bowler, so that was much creditable. But here Ross Whiteley doing it to the spinner, left arm spinner at that, Carver. And one did not understand after leaking 21 runs, what was the reason Tim Bresnan decided to give Carver the second over, and which really cost him dear, I would say. 36 runs taken of his second over to leave him with figures of 2 for 47. I'm sure he would have been a bit gutted, but I'm sure he would have learned from this experience, and he will know as to how to bowl to the batsman. Probably, I mean, he's not an experienced bloke, so this will give him an opportunity to get that real experience, a learning curve for Carver, I reckon. Now, the other matches are going to be just a sort of a brief glimpse onto it. It was some very good bowling from Matthew Parkinson, the leg spinner, who actually helped Lancashire to have a 31-run win over Durham. And at the other end, it was the the New Zealand all-rounder, Colin D. Granholm. It was a New Zealand pair which actually did the trick against Derbyshire with some big hitting done by the all-rounder Colin D. Granholm and Grant Elliott. They were the ones who actually made the difference. So just having a look at what they really did, this was a game which was played between Warwickshire and Derbyshire, and it was just going through the card here, Warwickshire. So let's have a look at the card here to see what really panned out as far as this particular match was concerned. So Warwickshire were the ones who actually batted first, and Granholm was not out on 65, 28 deliveries. He made sure that he slammed an equal number of boundaries and sixes, as he finished with 5 fours and 5 sixes in a thrashing knock, an unbeaten knock at that, of 65 runs. Pollock 66 of 40 deliveries, 5 fours, 3 sixes. Sam Hain 34 of 35 with 4 fours. Porterfield 20 of 7 with 1 4 and 2 sixes. 197 for 4 was the target. So definitely, if you look at the bowling from the Warwickshire, Matson 4 overs 1 for 38, Hughes 1 over for 6, Matt Henry 4 overs card for 43, Will Owen 4 overs cost him 48 runs and 2 wickets, Imran Tahir 4 overs for 34, 3 overs for 26 for Critchley. Derbyshire actually chasing that particular target. Even though Granholm made a good impression of 197, it was Derbyshire who were the ones who actually lost the match after Warwickshire made a very good score there. As they went down in the chase, they really gave a good chase, I would say. Goodman was out for 8 of 5, Critchley 17 of 14, Rees 33 of 20 with 3 fours, 1 6, Manson made 16, Gary Wilson 2, Hughes 25 12, 3 fours, 1 6, Broderick 14 of 9, Henry 10 of 6, Smith not out in, Will Owen 20, Imran Tahir was not ready. The bowling, Granholm had 3 overs, none for 38, 3 for 33 from Barker, none for 32 Rankin, Thomason 1 for 10, 4 for 37 for Grant Elliott. So the New Zealand pair actually are doing a very good thing. Granholm and Grant Elliott doing a good job there, as Warwickshire won the match by 20 runs. So that is one particular match. There was also one more match which was played in the Natwest T20 Blast. As far as that particular match was concerned, it was another match which was played between Birmingham. Birmingham was one which was there in that particular match. So I'm trying to see whether it's possible for me to actually catch up on that. But in the meanwhile, let me talk about another game, and we are talking about the first test which is coming up on the Indian tour of Sri Lanka, where India will be taking on Sri Lanka on the first test match. Already, as you know, Sri Lanka have been riddled with a bit of injury problems. Dinesh Chandimal is out of the mix, and Rangana Herath has been made the captain of the team. Upal Taranga, we all know about him. Dimut Karnatne. Now, looking at what has happened, Dhananjay De Silva, as I said, he according to me, is a very, very talented bloke, no doubt about it. But just because Dinesh Chandimal is not playing, that's the precise reason Dhananjay De Silva, despite failing in the first tour game, he has been, I mean, the selectors have felt that there is some talent in this bloke, and they have brought him in. So that is, I'm really happy to see, because I'm a great fan of Dhananjay De Silva. So he has come into the team. The other notable changes that has happened, I mean, the other ones select themselves. Dimut Karnaratne, Kushal Mendes, Angelo Matthews, Asela Gunaratne, Niroshan Dikwala, Dhananjay De Silva comes in. Danushka Gunatilaka also has been included in the 15-man squad. Dilruwan Pereira, Suranga Lakmal, Lairu Kumara, and the bowling looks sharp. Vishwa Fernando, as I said, was, he bowled very well in that particular game against the Indians, and he also went on to breach the stumps of Rohit Sharma, of Cheteshwar Pujara, the rock of Indian cricket. And so Vishwa Fernando gets an opportunity. So the bowling resources are looking pretty good here for Sri Lanka. They have a strong pace attack which consists of Suranga Lakmal, Lahiru Kumara, the young pace bowler, Vishwa Fernando, another one, Nuwan Pradeep has also made it. Nuwan Pradeep is also a very good bowler. He likes to hit the deck, and he has shown that he's a much improved bowler now, Nuwan Pradeep. So I think Sri Lanka have decided to go for a 4-pronged pace attack here, and that would be something which could really help them. Malinda and the match, and also we are also going to look at another left-arm spinner who has been given an opportunity. His name is Malinda Pushpakumara. Malinda Pushpakumara, just to say, he's just 30 years of age. Probably he has been doing very well. I'm told he has 558 first-class wickets in Sri Lankan Premier League tournament, and he has always been the second highest wicket taker as well. But he has taken 77 wickets, it seems. But the reason that Pushpa Kumara has not been able to break into the Sri Lankan team is for the simple fact that the left-arm spinner, the veteran Rangana Herath, has always been the regular for Sri Lanka. So definitely it is, so Malinda Pushpa Kumara as the left-arm spinner has been included. One was a bit surprised, but probably they know better what they are doing. They have decided to not have Lakshan Sandakan in the team, because Lakshan Sandakan, as you know, went for a lot of runs in that tour game as well. So Lakshan Sandakan has been pushed out, and I think it's a good choice, because Lakshan Sandakan could not do much, and in fact the experience of Nuwan Pradeep has been preferred, with Dushmanta Chamira pushed out after Vishwa Fernando put a very good performance as well. So they are going to have a good, nice pace attack revolving around Suranga Lakmal, Nuwan Pradeep, Lairo Kumara, and then they have the left arm pace bowler, Vishwa Fernando. So I think there will be a lot of variety in the pace department as well for Sri Lanka, and I think we are definitely looking forward to a nice game of cricket in the first test match which is coming up between India and Sri Lanka. And other than that, I'm trying to see whether there is any other cricket news that I can cover for you, dear fans, friends and subscribers. I'm just trying to see which is the last one. There's also one more match that I can talk about, and we are talking about a match between Lancashire versus Durham. Now, as far as Lancashire versus Durham is concerned, and let's see what really happened. It was that the leg spinner Parkinson did a good job there. In fact, let's have a look at what really happened. In fact, Lancashire were the victors over Durham in that particular game. So Lancashire actually batted first, and they got 174 for 5 on the board. Sam Livingston making an impressive 61 of 42, 4 fours, 2 sixes. Other than that, Stephen Croft had unbeaten 35, and McLaren making 32. A very quick fire 32, I would say. And Durham, well, they were 143 for 8, and they lost the match. The highest scorer being Steele with 37. Well, dear fan subscribers, today it's almost I'm almost up to the end of this cricket show now, and I hope you all enjoyed this Natwest T20 Blast a sensation when Ross Whitley went on to hit 4 sixes of the bowling of Carver to get into the record books as far as 6 sixes in a single over in T20 is concerned. Well, dear fans and subscribers, it's about time for me to say goodbye on this cricket show by promising you that more to come tomorrow on my next Cricket Happenings show. Thanks for your company and thanks for watching Cricket Happenings. This is your host Ram signing off for the day. Thank you.